Greetings everyone. In this video I want to explain the differences between a join and a union. Beginning people, even intermediate people, frequently confuse these two, so I want to do a join and then I'll do a union, and hopefully it'll explain the differences and you won't be confused anymore. So let's do a join. Here's an example of a join, and essentially what I'm doing is I'm asking to retrieve the ticker symbol, the closing price, and the day of week. And I just want the top 5 because I don't want so many in my answer. Well, ticker symbol comes from the stock data table. The closing price also comes from the stock data table. But the day of week comes from the calendar table. So in order to get this information and combine it, I have to join stock data and calendar. It's really important to note that when you join two tables, you have to join on a common column. Columns have to have the same data type and they have to have the same meaning. In this particular example, I'm joining the stock data table to the calendar table, and the common columns are trade date and actual date. So I'm looking for a match. When there's a match on the trade date side to the actual date side, then I'm going to return it to the answer set. I'm only going to grab the top 5 here. One other note, you might notice that I put brackets around day of week. It'll still work without them, but you'll notice it turns color because when we made the calendar table, we gave a column a reserved word. Day of week is actually a SQL word. So to get rid of that, we just put square brackets around it, and it knows that day of week either has to come from the calendar table or the stock data table. So we run this, and you'll notice that we're returning a ticker symbol, the closing price, and the day of week. Again, it's really important to note that we had a single common column, and we are getting data from two tables. Perhaps the most used and the most important construct in all of SQL is a join. Now in a future video, we'll do a variety of joins. We'll show an inner join, a left outer join, a right outer join, a full join, and a cross join. But for the moment, we just want to show a basic vanilla join to illustrate the differences. Let's look at our next example. Our next example isn't quite a union, but I'm leading into that. So let's pull up my next example. And I want to illustrate why a union might be preferable to the way that I have written it in this particular example. Here I'm looking for the ticker symbol, the trade date, and the closing price. And I have some conditions. I want to find those times that ticker symbol starts with the letter A, and that's right here, so it has to start with the letter A, and the trade date year has to be 2019. The other set of information I want returned is those times where ticker symbol started with the letter X and happened in 2018. So it's either A in 2019 or X in 2018. You'll notice we have a big OR clause here. We have lots of conditions going on. And we'll execute that. And we get a lot of answers. And we'll see things like ExxonMobil, and probably further down in the answer set we'll see Apple. So we see Apple, Amazon, and ExxonMobil for those specific years. So it's a little bit of a convoluted set of constructs there. So I'm going to show you an alternative way. It's the easiest use of union, and then maybe I can shed light on most common uses of unions in comparison to joins. So we have the same problem that we did before. That is, we're looking for A in 2019, and we're looking for X in 2018. So I write a simple query here. Select ticker symbol, trade date, ST close from stock data, and I have my where clause. Separately, I have the same thing, but for ExxonMobil. So let's see if I can. That, I'll execute. So that's just the ExxonMobil part. You'd notice down here it's just ExxonMobil. Come back up here. This part of the query I can execute separately, and that gives me my Apples and Amazons. But notice that we can union these two select statements together and get one answer set, and it's the same answer set we had before. There's 2 or 3 things to note here. If I'm ever going to combine 2 select statements with a union, they have to be what we call union compatible. Union compatible means that the attributes listed in the select clause have to be common in both of the parts of the union query. So you'll see I have ticker symbol, trade date, and close. Here I have ticker symbol, trade date, and close. That means that they're union compatible. That means I can combine 2 queries into one answer set given that both parts of the select clause are union compatible. So, in summary, unions and joins have very little in common. I do a join to combine 2 tables on a single column. I do a union when all the columns are common in the select clause, and frequently in the real world we have unions to append or to add answers one to another. I hope that helps illustrate the difference between union and join. Thank you.